My name is Rick Kahn. I work for Mortensen Construction, and I'm our director for VDC, Virtual Design Construction. We call it integrated construction because it's really about integrating technology into our daily practices to drive value to our customers. And today we're going to talk about gaming technology being used in construction. So gaming technology is a pretty wide topic. So it's not specific to gamification, but we're leveraging gaming engines to kind of drive value. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about. It's really about multiplayer collaboration, and hopefully the presentation will provide a journey of our kind of experiments getting to this multiplayer environment. And I'll introduce someone in the crowd today that actually can answer some questions directly pertaining to the solutions and systems that I'll be talking about. So with that, make sure this thing is turned on. So I got a little disclaimer. I did not practice this presentation, and prepare for yourself for an ad hoc storytelling approach. So today we are going to focus on VDC use cases in construction. But a quick history about Mortensen. It's almost about 20 years now since we started our journey in BIM and VDC. And it's really started in kind of 1995 when our leader said, we shall use 3D digital prototyping to help drive value to our projects. So 1995, and it's 2015. So this is a link to our new webpage. It talks through our journey and kind of gives a little insight to what we're looking at for the future, what's trending in the industry from technologies, and what are the things we're actually involved in research and partners with our vendors. So today the purpose of today's discussion is really to show or share the ways we're using VR to help drive and improve customer experience through improved decision-making processes. And that's really what we're looking to do with these gaming technologies. One of our team members talked about enhancing the collective understanding of design. And you may be asking yourself, why is a GC kind of involved in that? Well, the majority of our work is a negotiated type of contract structure. So whether it's design build, CMGC at risk, or IPD, or APC, there's a number of ways we go through our delivery methods. But all of those methods puts us at the beginning of the project with our design team, with our customer, to help understand constructability issues during the design phase, because that's where the real value is in the design phase. So we're going to explore some examples. We'd like to do live R&D on our projects, and I'll show you some examples of that. I'm going to share some of our findings through academic research through the University of Minnesota, and we're going to show examples of a single-player customer VR experience, which you guys all know. It's nothing that I'm going to show you is probably unique. But and then we're going to transition to this multiplayer environment where we think the future is, the near future is going to be. So with that, I'll get started. So through the research in partnership with the University of Minnesota, we did a number of VR research studies, and this kind of abstract graph shows kind of the key improvements with the use of VR gaming technologies. So this one says client understanding the traditional approach is in the white, and the blue shows the gaming or the immersive environment type approach. The same thing with accelerated feedback, traditional versus the VR gaming approach. This is shoots, I can't even read that. Perception. Yeah, well, you can see the difference. All right. Cost, the cost of implementation and interactivity. So you can see the blue is dramatically more improved, and it's really moving away from viewing something on a screen to starting to be fully immersed, so our customers can experience the facility before it's even built. The key processes we're looking at is design review. So how do we work in parallel with our design partners to leverage this type of technology, so this way it doesn't impact in a negative way their design workflow, and we can help provide the constructability constructability look at for the design and its progress, so we can enhance how we get to a better cost and schedule planning process. And really, it's all about improving the decision-making process. If we could drive decisions earlier, actually we get a much better outcome during construction. It leads to prefabrication, it leads to better procurement, it leads to all these things. So it's all done with a purpose. So for the 2012 to 2014, some of our demonstration projects for live R&D, I just want to show a couple examples of some of the ways we're using gaming technologies in different instances, a mobile scenario and physical installation. So with this first example, on a healthcare project, we're using the Oculus Rift, so we have a workflow from SketchUp or Revit to LightUp to Unity to Oculus. With the Vikings project, working with our customer and understanding the layout of the surrounding facility, we're using a tool called Lumion or Quest 3D to kind of take the model into that environment and provide some real-time interactivity to drive better decisions. For the third example, the VRDL. The VRDL is really an acronym for the Virtual Reality Design Lab, which is based out of the University of Minnesota. And Phil Rader here, he'll be available for questions. He's one of the experts there at the facility. And this is an immersive environment where you put on a head unit and you can actually walk in a really large space. I believe it's like 40 feet by 20 feet, is that?
It's about 52 foot square.
52 foot square. All right. And you get a fully immersive experience, and it's multiple players being able to experience the same space at the same time. So we'll get more into that. And then finally, there's a physical cave, an immersive environment, where it's a 6-sided 10 square box. And again, it's another fully immersive. The challenge there is the perspective is from the single player. So these are just 4 examples and actually real projects that we're using this type of technology to drive innovation and drive a better decision process. So I'm going to talk about some soft metrics in terms of a couple projects. The 7th Street Residence Hall back in 2012 and 13, we're working with the U. It's on the U's campus. It's directly right across the street from the VRDL. So we took the opportunity to take some of our bathroom units and the dorms and bring it into the immersive environment. And these were some of the stats. It's really kind of soft stats. It's saying that, you know, we did this and it could have saved X. So we didn't really went at it from a scientific approach, but we realized there was some opportunities in terms of savings for the project. The customer was actually were able to make better decisions on the lighting of in the bathrooms and the proximity to the fixtures in the bathroom through the immersive environment, which in fact helped create a better design for the team, and we were able to build it the way the customer wanted it. So it provided a really good positive result. In terms of another example where we had a physical cave, at the Penn State Pagula Arena, which we kind of finished in late 2013, they had a cave environment at their local, at their school, and so we were able to kind of join forces with them and take the Pagula Ice Arena model into the cave. And we kind of went about this with a little bit more scientific approach. What are the key things that we're going to target in terms of problem solving and kind of measure them from a cost aversion? So it's hard to read this, but all this information is available on our website in terms of case studies. But you can see that there was a cost of change, $62,500, but the averted total cost savings was almost $500,000. And this was all contributed to immersive environments and gaming technologies during the design phase. So for an example, our customer was walking through the immersive environment, the cave, at the top concourse that looks down onto this hockey rink, and the windows along the corridor were about, average height, And he kind of walked up to it and said, well, I want to see the entire rink. Why aren't these windows all the way down to the ground level so we can see the entire rink? And again, it wasn't a huge impact to cost, but it happened early enough that before the procurement of those windows went out, before the details went out, a decision was made to drive a better experience for our customer and actually a better deliverable, right? How crappy is it when our customer walks through a facility and says, yeah, it's cool, but it could have been this, right? So that's the objective. We're trying to, have them experience the facility before they're actually built. So we had some plus deltas. The VRDL, the cave, some great stuff, good interactivity, versatility and deliverable, immersion, spatial cognition, and multiplayer experience with both installations, physical installations. Some of the deltas, the time frame of creation it's skill driven, right? So the authors, there's a lot of skill required. The workflow, there's multiple parties involved. It's Mortensen and our people and the facilities people, like the VRDL people and the cave folks at Pagula. There was a lot of back and forth rework because of the multiple handoffs. The physical location, we had to fly our customers, our design partners from Texas, from North Dakota, from all over the country to this physical location to experience the space. It's great, but it costs a lot of money. And it's impractical in the longer term. And the material depiction, again, skill driven, where we need to spend more time in lighting and materials to be able to make it realistic. And finally, there was a single player perspective, right? So on the cave, the physical cave, one person defines perspective for the rest. So everybody else is kind of seeing it in skewed vision, and only one person sees it in real vision. That's not the case with the VRDL, but those are some of the deltas. So fast forward a little bit now to a mobile environment, leveraging the Oculus Rift and Unity. So our workflow is basically SketchUp to light up to Unity to Oculus. So customer experience, the head coach and the players actually wanted to experience their space, their locker room, which is a big important thing in every sports facility, locker rooms. We walked the team through that. They were able to provide feedback. It's a 1-to-1 proportion ratio, and they were actually pretty happy with the outcome. Second example, the K-State just recently, in the last month or two, the athletic director was kind of concerned with the design, the kind of the lighting of the room, and so we worked with our design partners to kind of bring the system into the Unity environment for Oculus, and then we had the customer actually put on the Oculus and experience the space, and they were really happy with it, and they didn't make any change. So that in itself is a huge success for both the design team and the construction team, because the high-end materials for the lockers and all these other things that we have to procure and we have to make sure and detail out, we didn't have to worry about going through that iteration again. So that was a major win for the team. And again, it's about a team. It's a team effort. It's not Mortensen. It's about the team. It's about the design and construction team working in collaboration, and that's our goal. So again, some of the plus deltas. Again, interactivity, very similar. The key improvement here, or the plus, was the mobility. Being able to take the experience to our customers, have them multiple experiences in different locations. That's a huge, the workflow was fantastic because it all was in-house. We were able to do it all in-house. We didn't have to send it over the fence to somebody else. So we were able to have better control and faster iterations with our design partner. And then finally, the deltas, right? So we had some of the same deltas. However, the single player experience was still, the challenge. So overall, those were kind of our demonstration project. So now in 2014 we said, all right, we're going to take an academic approach. We're going to take a scientific approach to this because we have to really truly understand the value of immersion. So we again, connected with the University of Minnesota, and Will Adams was in the consortium of research practice. So we had an intern come in, and his job for this semester was to really give us data, real data on the use of immersive environments. So he had his research was spatial cognition and virtual reality, and really it was the spring of 2013, but just kind of extended on because there was a lot more involved. So there was, what he did was, it was pretty ingenious, smart guy. We actually hired him. He's full-time at Mortensen now. He's in our Seattle office. But so the idea was, how do we look at something on a drawing, on a screen, and then actually recreate that physically, right? Isn't that what we do? We look at a drawing, we build it, right? But we had to do it in a simplified manner, right? So what he did was he created this control environment where these pieces were located in a specific, angle and XY coordinate. Had a true north, and this was like the control, the white. So there was 4 approaches: the controlled 2D screen, the HMD, the Oculus Rift, and walking, so the VRDL installation. So 4 different case scenarios. The first was physical, so someone was able to walk around and inspect, and they couldn't measure, and then they had to go recreate on this side. The second was looking at the model on the screen, so perceiving it on the screen, and then going to build it. Third was actually using the Oculus Rift, and then, one-step immersion, able to sit down and kind of walk around it virtually, kind of try to understand it. And then finally was using the VRDL to actually experience a space, physically walk around it, not in a seated position, and then go rebuild it. So the results. What we found was the control. The control is the physical, where the folks walked around in a real reality and actually went to rebuild. So the control is our baseline. That's where we understood the base. We measured everything against that because it's a kind of a one-to-one scenario. We looked at the monitor and we basically measured the deviation between that point and that point to understand how far away were the actual physical installations. And what we did, and what Will did, was basically did a volume differential. So we looked at trying to understand that volume differential. So the Rift, again, it was a little bit better, so it was a smaller deviation from control. But the walk, again, you can see the smallest deviation from control. So the data shows that immersive environments actually provide a much higher connection between physical and virtual. So the data was the first set of data that we know of, and Phil, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the first type of data like this that actually provided some proof. And again, it was an early case study, but in essence, it was a value add to us and a confirmation that, yep, we're kind of heading in the right direction. So the key lessons learned: workflow, having it in-house was key. Decisions is multiplayer, right? On large stadiums, on hospital work, on big projects, no one person makes a decision. Somebody may tell you that, but the reality is decisions are made by boards. Decisions are made by a leadership team. It may only be one person that tells you the story, but the reality is a lot of people are involved. And finally, the accessibility to the VR needs to be mobile. We need to be able to take that. We need to be able to take the VR experience to our customers or design team. So this way we can have a collaboration. So enter the mobile multiplayer environment. So I'll show you a couple of videos, and this is where I just ran out of time, and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take some videos to show you. So this is about the University of Minnesota's VRDL. We had a proposal to create a virtual multiplayer experience in 2014. So hopefully this plays. I'll probably need to click it. Like the music? So this is 2012, the University Residence Hall. You can see what this person is experiencing. It was like a big backpack, it was tethered. And there's Phil, my man Phil over there. Dun, dun, dun.
We took about 20 pounds of stuff and boiled it down to that.
Yeah. And it was pretty cool that we thought, so went from this massive laptop, the Dell 6800 or 6500 at the time, to an iPad mini. We got a much higher refresh rate. It was like 60 frames per second. Much better experience. So we looked at, and these costs were not real. It's just an idea to get leadership understanding what the differential was. But so that was a proposal we had put together. I want to say that it all went swimmingly, but legal got involved and it was all interesting. But it doesn't mean that the thing didn't move forward, because our folks, our friends over at the VRDL decided to continue the process. So again, I wanted to show this video because it's about the multiplayer, and I didn't edit the video, so it's kind of long and boring because myself and a couple of my folks went out to test it. So we're actually in the same space. Dr. Lee Anderson, kind of one of the guys who leads up the program, is using an iPad with the same kind of tracking system. My buddy Mihal and myself were kind of all experiencing the same space together. Let me just kind of click forward here. Hopefully this will make sense in a minute. So this was those numbers are really us in an XY position. So each one of us has a number, 1, 2, 3, and we're able to see each other and where they are. Again, this is academic, this is research driven, but the idea is we're moving to a multiplayer environment, because if we can get multiple people, maybe not even in the same location, but in multiple locations, experiencing the same space together, we're going to be able to drive better decisions. So that's really the premise behind it all. And then recently, I'll show another video. This is a much longer video, and it was just one of the days we stopped by and they had time for us to kind of go through the process. So what's next? The continuous improvement. Well, let's add some 3D avatars so actually people can see, because one of the challenges in this immersive environment, like you can see in the Oculus, is the lack of haptic feedback, or you can't, you're walking around with your hands tied behind your back in VR, right? So how do we kind of better orient people? One aspect is adding avatars and having some, gesture, having some gestures in there, or actually being able to have hand recognition, or, maybe object collision, so there's a vibration when you touch something virtually. So those are some of the things. This is a kind of recently, in the last 6 months or so, the team kind of started adding 3D avatars with head gestures. So we ask a question, yes and no, simple things, but again, trying to connect people to the immersive environment. Looks kind of weird, right? But this is one of the dorm rooms at. But you get the idea, right? Multiplayer collaboration experience. How can we get multiplayers, the key stakeholders involved in this design process, to experience a space to drive a better experience and drive better decisions? That's what we're after. And we're using gaming technology to be able to do that. So it's fun, it's about the experience, and it's trying to leverage cutting edge technology. So kind of that's it for today, but I did want to introduce the team. Phil is here, and he's an awesome guy, and we've known him for a long time. And Renee is really the director now, right? She kind of runs the program in school architecture, and then Lee is the kind of the emerging technologies leader. He's studied VR since the 80s or something like that.
He wrote a program that was in '89. It was like a schedule. Sold it to aliens. It was a program called Upfront.
Yeah.
It was early on. He created 3D modeling, creating geometry from photographs.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's, fellow nerds, right? We're all kind of pretty excited. I love geeking out with these guys. I go to their office and they're like, "Oh, check this out!" And it's just a lot of fun. And that's we want to bring that fun and excitement to our project teams and our customers. So that's what I have, and it's been half hour. So I'll be happy to take any questions or just chat. If you have any questions about the VRDL, please.